Good morning and welcome to this yoga practice. My name's Natasha. I'm going to be guiding you through the practice today. So today we're really going to focus on our flexibility. And before that makes you worry or run away, please don't panic. And we're just going to try and lose those connotations or expectations that we put on ourselves. Just trying to calm down. We start where we are, we use what we have, and we do what we can. So just come in to find a comfortable seat. So I like to have something under my hips, just to raise them a little so it takes the pressure off my lower back. I have a bolster. You don't need to have a bolster. You can have a cushion, you can have a block, a big book, just anything that kind of lifts you up that you feel stable and comfortable on. Then once you're there, legs however feels comfortable to you. And hands, lately, without even meaning to, I'm just hands down, which is a very grounding pose. Today, I'm going to try and turn them up, consciously turning them up, so it's a much more open, accepting pose. Maybe change between the two, see what you feel resonates with you today, or having the hands in your lap. Closing the eyes. Take a big breath in through the nose, out through the mouth. Do that a few times. Next time, maybe just allow your shoulders to release. Just let go of anything that you feel that you're carrying with you that maybe you can put down. And then just allow your breath to come into a natural rhythm, in and out through the nose. And as you do so, just lengthening the spine. So we don't want a straight spine. The spine is beautifully curved. But we just want to imagine you're trying to get a little bit of space between each vertebrae. So you're just really giving it space to breathe. Making sure the shoulders are away from the ears. And just enjoying that breath. So one of our focuses or our themes today is one of our yamas. So in the 8 limbs of yoga, we have the asana practice, which is our physical practice, which is what a lot of us associate with yoga. And that's just one of the limbs, and it's the 3rd limb. The first 2 deal with kind of a social code and a personal practice. And one of the social codes is Asteya, which means non-stealing. And whilst that can mean tangible things, not actually stealing physical objects, today our application of that is more stealing opportunities from ourselves, stealing time. So with flexibility, sometimes we think, oh, I can't do that, I'm not flexible enough. But you have the opportunity. It doesn't matter where you are. The best time to plant a tree is 20 years ago. And the second best time is right now. So we may wish we've been doing these practices for a long time, but if we haven't, the best thing we can do is just to start right now. So I want you to go through your practice and just try to be here. Don't steal this time away from yourself. And then one of our other yamas is ahimsa, which is non-violence, and we interpret that as kindness. So I want you to show yourself some kindness as well. Your breath deep and steady. And gradually just exploring the space in your chest, down into your stomach as you breathe. And no rush, just take your time. Enjoy the breath in and the breath out. Taking a moment to acknowledge yourself on your mat today. Maybe wishing yourself a good morning or good evening, depending on when you're watching this. Asking how you are. And maybe having to ask the second or a third time to get an honest answer. Allow the breath to deepen further. Big breath in. Slow breath out. On the next inhale, sweeping the arms up, join the palms together. They're in the hands down in front of the heart. Let's begin with a namaste. We echo and repeat namaste to one another to show that we acknowledge and respect the light and love that we share, that's in each of us. We are one and we are the same. Namaste. Good. So we're going to begin our asana practice. So if you do have something under your hips, just moving it to the side. We're going to begin with a seated cat-cow. So this time we really want the movement in the lower back, and sometimes being propped up, it kind of inhibits that deliberately. That's why we do it. So seated cat-cow, as we would do on all floors. As we inhale, we lengthen the front of the body. So you're lifting your chest, really trying to stretch your collarbones forwards. We lift the chin, but we're not just trying to kind of let the neck fall back. We're just trying to lengthen the whole neck up towards the sky. As you exhale, bring your chin to your chest, you're gazing towards your belly button, and the belly button is really drawing in towards the spine. Inhale, we tilt the pelvis forwards. And as you exhale, tucking the tailbone under, so we tilt the pelvis backwards. So sometimes it's nice to imagine as if your pelvis is a jug of water. So neutrally, it's balanced, it's fine. When we tilt it forwards, you imagine you're trying to tip water out of that. And then when we do it the other way, tucking the tailbone under, posterior tilt, we're trying to tip the water back behind us. So just going through those movements. And again, enjoying your breath. And pay attention when you move through here. What can you feel? Is it your lower back, maybe between the shoulder blades or your neck? And feel free to make it a little bit looser if you want to. And move around, move your shoulders, maybe even come more to a Sufi roll. So we roll into a circle through our hips and back. So it's the same kind of movement, but we just come in from one side and out from the other. Feeling a little bit warmer now, so I'm going to take my little namaste socks off. So just keep doing, if you are doing the rolls, so you're going in circles, just make sure you pause and change direction. And just reminding ourselves, yoga isn't for the flexible. It's not about touching your toes. Yoga is for the willing. People that want to just take the journey. The further into the journey you go, the more you realise it's not about touching your toes. But just try and take that pressure off yourself. If you hear that inner critic, begin to chirp away. Good. Come back to centre. We're going to come into our cow face now. So this is kind of known, you might know it as shoelaces, or different ways. So we're going to bring our right knee facing forwards. And place our left foot over the top. So ideally we'd have our knees stacked one on top of the other. For me, that means I'm just lifting from my hips slightly. So I'm just going to come back to about here. But if yours is more like here, wonderful, we start where we are. So just be where you need to be. Good, and then we're going to take the opposite arm up from the top. So right knee is forward, so we're going to take the right arm up, but the, the top knee is the left, and we're going to have the top arm as the right. I've made it sound like a game of Twister. It's not that complicated. Sorry, so right arm up, please. So your options here are to hold the elbow. If you're doing this option, you're trying to push that elbow away from the center line, and your hand is trying to bring it back towards it. So you have this tension. You can really open your chest. Oh, you feel a really lovely stretch. A really lovely stretch down this open side here. The other option, usually facing forwards, I'm just going to show you, is if you have the flexibility and the movement in the shoulder, is to bring the hands to touch and hold behind. So even if you're gripping fingers, this is fine. If you have a little gap, you could use a strap or a sock or something to bridge the gap between the hands. If you have a really big gap or this hand doesn't even want to go behind the back, then just stay with your first option. We're going to hold there for a moment. Big breath in. Big breath out. Ooh, let me come back to my legs actually. Just imagine squeezing your thighs together a little. And again, try to sit between the sit bones evenly, so we're not just leaning over to the right side. If you want to, you can lean forwards just slightly, but it's just optional. And if you find your elbows kind of sagging, resting on your head, and lift it up, so we're really engaging through the muscles. For another 3, for 2, for 1. Gently release. Oh, sometimes it can feel really nice to push the arms away. You should feel a really lovely stretch, a long arm. Good, we're going to come into Baddha Konasana now, just as an in-between counter stretch. This is known as bound angle or butterfly. So we bring the soles of the feet together. And again, please be kind to yourself, know where you are. So if you are here, that's fine, that's fine. We just go to wherever we are. And we're just going to flutter a little bit. So imagine a butterfly you're fluttering. So I was just really rounded through my lower back. So I just have to bring my pelvis forwards a little, engage my core and try to sit upright. So if you find that you're rounded into the small of the back, just try to elevate slightly. Flutter wherever you are. I'm using my hands to grip onto the feet almost like an anchor, but you don't need to. Then going to where you are. Pause in there. And then we're going to try and lean forward. And we're not rounding the back. There's no points for whoever gets the lowest. We're trying to just open up the hips here. So just leaning forward. Trying to keep the chin, chest lifted. Hold for 3. For 2. For 1. Gently come back up. We're going to go to the other side now. So your left knee, right knee over the top, a little closer this time. So again, be aware, try to respond to where your body's at. Your sides will be different potentially. So go to where they are rather than just assuming, oh, well, I was on this side, so I'll do the same on the other side. Just pay attention. And it's a nice way to be mindful as well and to get to know your body. It's nice to know all these little kooks and quirks we have. So left arm up this time. So again, the options to hold the elbow or to thread the arm behind and grip fingers. Whichever one you're doing. So in this position, it's really tempting to tilt the pelvis too far forwards, which is what I'm doing now. There's no engagement through my core. So I need to really engage that core. So a cue for that could be to knit your ribs down or to draw the belly button in. You just immediately feel that kind of more engagement. So we're protecting our spine. Try to take the elbows back so your shoulders are really opening up at the front. You should feel some intense stretching through the back. And let's pause here. Big breath in. Big breath out. Another 3. And really focus on your breath. So the breath coming in and the breath going out. Good. After your next exhale. Okay, stretch the arms out. Maybe just in a few shoulder rolls to just release any tension that's built up. And even maybe can you feel all that lovely new blood and new oxygen rushing into your arms where they've been up. Uncrossing the legs. This time we're going to come onto all fours for our cat-cow. So knees under your hips, hands under your shoulders. So just as we did with seated, as we inhale, we're lengthening the front body, lifting the chin and the chest forwards. And again, we're not just kind of crunching the neck back, we're trying to extend forwards. Exhale, chin to chest, push up between the shoulder blades, pull the belly button in. Inhale, tilting your pelvis forwards. Exhale, tucking the tailbone under. Just keep moving at your rhythm, at your pace, and again, paying attention to the body. So it really feels nice. Then focus on pushing up between those shoulder blades. If it's your hips, focus on your hips. And as we do the seated, if you want to go a little freestyle, maybe swinging the hips from side to side, maybe going round and dipping with your shoulders, just kind of allow that sway and that movement to just loosen your body up. When we work on flexibility, we also work on flexibility of the mind. So being flexible in our approach and not stuck on rigid beliefs or expectations. And gently allow yourself to come down to a child pose, bringing the hips down, stretching the arms forwards, resting down. Big breath in, big breath out. Hold for another 3. For 2. For 1. Gently lifting up. Tucking the toes. We're going to lift into a down dog. So please take your time here. Allow a big generous bend in the knees. Heels off the floor. So grounding through our hands. We're trying to bring our ears between our arms. And then we're trying to create a straight line from the wrist to the hips. So if you find that your chest is lifting up, just try and bring the chest towards the thighs. Tilt the pelvis forwards and lift the hips to the ceiling. Really again, find length in your spine. Try to wrap your biceps around so our shoulders are broad. This is enough. If you want to go further, you can try and loosen the bend in the knees, bring the heels down. But if in doing so, you then get straight legs but a rounded back, you come back out. Let's focus on the spine rather than the legs. And then when you're ready, taking your gaze forwards, gently walking your feet towards your hands. We come into a forward fold and just release here. And again, knowing if your forward fold is much higher up, doesn't matter. You're just going wherever we feel that stretch. And you're just releasing down here. So you just allow a rounding in the lower back. Just allowing yourself to be.
Maybe holding opposite elbows, swaying from side to side. Just taking your time. Remember, we're not stealing this time away. So if you find that your mind wanders to your to-do lists, just come back to where you are and take a big breath in and a big breath out. On your next inhale, you're going to lift up to a standing position, lifting the arms above the head, and then releasing them down and lowering to our sides. Taking a big breath in and a big breath out. Trying to breathe in and out through the nose if you can. I know winter, a lot of people are blocked up. Do what you can, but obviously please just breathe. So we're going to come into, it's more of a hatha style practice today, so less flow, and we'll kind of just focus in on different asanas or postures. But we are going to do Surya Namaskar, our sun salutation in the hatha style. So if you normally follow me for vinyasa, it's very similar, just a few tiny changes. But just bear with me to begin with and see what's coming. So grounding down with your feet. And as always, you can have them together in the traditional style, or you can have them hip distance apart. But really grounding down, connecting with the earth. Lengthening the body tall. So taking an exhale. And zip that body up, so we're really protecting our spine here. We want the chest open, but we don't want to arch the back, so just rolling the shoulders back, giving ourselves some space to breathe. If you feel that your chin is lifted, just gently tucking the chin in to lengthen the spine. Good. Taking an inhale, arms by your side. On your exhale, bring them into prayer pose, Pranamasana, so hands in front of the heart. Inhale, we're lifting them up into Hasta Uttanasana, so we're lengthening here. If you want to go into a back bend, I'm pregnant so I'm not going to go into a back bend, but if you do, hips forwards, core engaged, lifting the chest, and just trace the line back with your eyes. With an inhale, coming back up, and then exhale, we bow forwards into our forward fold. Bend your knees as much as you need to, so your hands can support you. You're going to step back with the right foot. Going to lower the knee and come into Ashwasanchalanasana, which is our equestrian pose. So in other terms, you might know it more as a low lunge. So just allow yourself to open into this. Again, if you're sitting, wherever that stretch is, but just find your stretch. Opening your shoulders. And then bringing the hands behind, almost as if you're trying to get the backs of the hands together. Taking your gaze upwards. Big inhale. A big exhale. Releasing your hands down to the mat. We're going to step back into what we know as a down dog, but it's a mountain pose in hatha, and it's called Parvatasana. So we're going to step back into your mountain pose. From here, we're coming into our 8-point salute. So for this, we have 2 hands and 2 feet. We're going to bring 2 knees down, and then a chest and a chin, and we're going to keep our hips lifted. So lower down to the ground, chest and chin come down, and then to move forwards into our cobra or bhujangasana, we're going to release the toes, slide forwards, and then allow ourselves to come up. So from here, I need to just bring my hands forward slightly. We're zipping the legs together. We're trying to keep the hips down and lift the chest. Gazing forwards. Lowering back down. Hands to support you. We're going to push back up into our mountain pose. Lifting up here. So this is Parvatasana. Now we're going to come back the way we came in. So we step forwards with the left foot this time into a low lunge or our equestrian pose. So even though the opposite leg is moving, it still means we have the right leg backwards. And once again, release down, opening the chest, opening the arms. Big inhale, big exhale. Good. release the hands down. We step forwards into our Uttanasana, our forward fold. With an inhale, we lift all the way up. And if you are coming to back bend, you can come straight into that back bend. And then release the hands down back to your prayer pose. And inhale to release. Wonderful. So we do it on the other side, and that completes the set. So inhale. Exhale, hands in prayer. Inhale up, option for back bend. Exhale, bow forwards. So this time we take a step back with the left foot. So we do exactly the same, but it's just the other leg back. So again, finding that stretch, opening up. Oh, really, this is a lovely one for surrender and just opening yourselves up to really feel that you're just letting go here. Good. Bringing the hands down, we're going to step back, Parvatasana. And so we bring our knees and chest and chin. You can do that almost in one movement, or keep it separate, knees and then chest and chin. And then when you're ready, releasing the toes, sliding forward so the hips come down, zip the legs together and lift up into your Bhujangasana, your cobra pose. Releasing down. Support yourself to push back, Parvatasana. So again, we want the left leg back, so we step forward with the right foot. Releasing that left knee down. Once again, finding your stretch. And on this one, just be aware your right hip might creep forward, so just try and draw the right hip back. And equally, your belly can just kind of hang out. We just relax there. So just try and keep that core engaged. And stretch the arms open. Big inhale. Big exhale. Hands forward, step forwards. If you need to take a few little steps in and forwards, totally fine. Do what you need to do. Relax into that forward fold. And if you find that you're holding there, I just felt I was pausing here, but actually I can go a little lower. Just try to find where you can go so you still constantly feel that stretch. So each time maybe we're getting a little bit further. And then when you're ready, inhale, reaching up to the sky. Exhale, hands in front of the heart. And inhale to release. Just take a lovely cleansing breath here. Big breath in. And a big breath out. So we're going to do another set. So once again, just grounding yourself down, lengthening. So you're growing your roots into the ground, and then you're growing your trunk, your branches tall. So when you're ready, inhale, arms by the side. Exhale, hands in prayer pose. Inhale, arms up, lengthening the body to the sky. Exhale, bow forwards. Inhale, we step back with the right foot. Allow ourselves to come down into our low lunge, our Ashwasanchalanasana. Bring the hands forwards. Step back, Parvatasana. Lower the knees, chest and chin to make 8 contacts with the floor. And sliding through, come into your cobra. I'm not going to come up into the full cobra anymore, so I'm just going to stay low, but you come up into the expression that feels comfortable to you. Releasing down, support yourself, push back into a down dog. Stepping forwards with the left foot, releasing down, opening yourself up. We're going to pause here for 5, for 4, with the left hip back if it's creeping forwards, for 3, for 2, for 1. Hands down, step forward. releasing down. When you feel ready, let's lift up. Big stretch. Release hands to heart center. And then open to release. Big breath in. Big breath out. Relax your shoulders. Maybe just give yourself a little shake to just loosen out. And let's complete the set. Inhale. Exhale, hands in prayer. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, bow forwards. This time, stepping back with the left leg. And let's open up. So you can always keep your hands on your hips. Sometimes that's quite good because you can tell if the hips are getting a little bit out of line. Otherwise, opening up as we've done before. Good. Hands down. Step back into your Parvatasana, and this time we're going to hold here. So finding that stretch again, sometimes because we go in and out of this so often, you can kind of get a bit casual, but really try and lengthen the spine, hips up, making the shoulders broad so you feel a stretch across the back and the shoulders. Maybe lifting the hips up so you might feel a stretch in the back of the legs. Grounding through the whole hand, so you want your fingertips and your knuckles as well as the palm of the hand supporting you on the floor. For another 3, for 2, for 1. We're going to gently bring those knees down, chest and chin. And then sliding forwards. So coming into your Cobra, your Bhujangasana. If you don't want to, you can come into Sphinx pose. So this is just an option, so our forearms are on the floor. This is enough for me, just gives me a little extra space. If you really don't want to come down to your stomach at all, not that you really don't want to, that you can't or you don't want to, you can always come back up onto all fours like when we're in cat-cow. So, finding your place, and a hold for 5. Squeeze the legs together for 4, for 3, lift up out of your shoulders for 2, for 1. Good, gently release down, support yourself with your hands, push back into your down dog. Good, so your right foot steps forwards. And then once again, we're going to hold here. So finding your expression. So again, the body's so clever and it can feel, oh, being stretched. I'm going to pause here, and it holds us because it's just so good at trying to prevent injury. But actually, we want to just let the body know, no, it's okay. Go a little bit further. We never want any pain or any real discomfort. But we want to find a little bit of tension. We want to find that stretch. Once you have, opening yourself up. Hold for 5. Really helps to dig down through that front heel. For 4, you imagine squeezing your thighs together. You can feel a lot more tension. And it really helps stabilize. For 3, for 2, for 1. Hands forwards, ground down, and a step forwards. Releasing into your forward fold. And really just let go here. So again, shaking head, neck and shoulders. It's a really nice one from that low lunge position to just allow our back to counter into the other direction. And when you're ready, let's inhale, reach all the way up to stand. Exhale, hands in front of the heart. And inhale, arms by the side. Big cleansing breath in. And a calming breath out. So
as we deal with flexibility, not only is it our body and our mind, but also our breath. So just imagine, the more we try to breathe deeply, the more we can. And you just take a couple of days off and it feels like it goes. It's just like a muscle. We have to keep expanding that breath. And what wonderful, calm us down. It gives us time so we can respond rather than reacting. It helps us make better decisions. It helps us sleep. It's good for our nervous system. Or just taking breath. It's so worth it. So whenever you wander off in your mind, just come back and take a big cleansing breath. So from here, we're going to come through some of our warriors. So just bear with me. So in our vinyasa classes, often we do these in a flow, but we're going to come from standing. So into our warrior one, I'm going to lead with the right leg. And what I'd like you to do, we're just going to gently turn that foot out slightly, but I want you not to focus on the foot, focus on the thigh. So it's not too much because we want the hips forwards, but we just need to externally rotate that thigh slightly to allow ourselves to step back. So finding your own depth. It doesn't have to be a big step, maybe 3 feet. We want our hips to come forwards. We want the back heel on the floor if we can. So my toes are pointing kind of to the top corner of the mat. Trying to bring the hips forwards. And again, I'm just kind of slack in my stomach. I'm just going to try and bring my ribs down, which automatically helps lengthen me here. Bending into the front knee. If you find that your knee is coming way past the ankle, just step the foot forward slightly. And almost imagine someone is, from this side, pulling your calf forwards. So you're still finding that length. Arms up. And if you have the space, palms together. For some people this feels very clunky and clumsy with your shoulders. In that case, leave them apart. But if there is space, bring the palms together. We're going to hold for 5. For 4. Try to push down with the outside edge of this back foot because we can often roll in. For 3. For 2. For 1. Gently stepping that foot forward. Releasing the arms. Big breath in. Big breath out. Going to do the same on the other side. So again, so often it's the foot or the knee that we notice, but we really want that movement to come from our central kind of body. So just externally rotating that thigh slightly to enable you to step back. It doesn't need to be too much. It might need to be a little more depending on how your body works. We're all very different. And then we're trying to get those hips back forward. So some of you might feel a really lovely stretch down in your calf muscle here. And sinking into that knee. Knit my ribs down to remember me to engage my core. And then when I'm ready, bringing the arms up. Let's hold for 5. Keep that breath deep. For 4. For 3. For 2. For 1. Good. Gently stepping forward. Release the arms by the side. Big breath in. Big breath out. Okay, let's go into our warrior 2. So the numbers don't necessarily mean that they get progressively harder. I think often warrior 1 can be much harder to try and get that alignment, or can be much easier. So don't think that it necessarily is a stepping stone. They're just different. They're different and they're all beautiful in their own way. And we find our own path within them. So your warrior 2. Just face this way so I'll be able to see you. So this time, there's a bigger turnout with the foot, with the hip. So really externally rotating. We're stepping back. And we're really trying to open our hips to the side this time, whereas before we were trying to keep the hips forwards. This time they're opening out to the side. And we use the back foot as a lever to kind of help us open or close depending on how our hips are. So if you have really open hips, you may find that your foot's almost parallel, your hips are completely open to the side, and your knees in line with your foot. If not, our hips are slightly tighter. It's almost similar to the warrior one position. We're trying to open up and we get to where we go. With this one, just be careful if your foot's out but your hips are forwards, we're putting a lot of strain on that knee. So we want to avoid that. We just need to bring those toes so our knees and toes are in line. Front knee, stay facing forwards. Again, that can creep out if we try and open our hips too much to the side. So we want to make sure that one is facing forwards and we allow a bend into the knee. Again, if your knee is coming past your ankle, just widen your stance slightly. And then there's a tendency to kind of tilt forwards and kick our hips. So we're just going to level those hips up. Try and stack your shoulders above your hips and open your arms. Good. And then just breathe. Let's hold for 5. For 4. For 3. For 2. For 1. Wonderful. And we're going to step back in. And then just release arms by the side. Big breath in. Big breath out. Let's do the same on the other side. So again, I was just finding my postures kind of tend to bend my legs back and just round my shoulders. So just keep checking in when you can. Make sure your legs are engaged, shoulders are back. And then opening from the hips. Stepping back and stretch and open those hips just as much as they're willing to go, but you do want to feel a stretch. Equally with coming down, it's really lovely to get that stretch into your hips as well. So if up here is comfortable, that you're not working too hard, see if you can go a little lower, find that stretch. We're focused on flexibility, but this one is such a good one for using our strength as well in our legs, which hopefully you're feeling after the 5 breaths. So again, when you're ready, making sure this knee is facing forwards, is in line with your ankle and your toes. Arms to parallel, stretching in both directions. Hold for 5. And again, imagine squeezing your legs together. Immediately you feel that extra tension. For 4. For 3. Try to push with the outside edge of that back foot. For 2, relax your shoulders. For 1. Good, gently taking a step forwards and releasing. Big breath in. Big breath out. So by going through the asanas this way, not only are we swooping sides, so we have to keep changing our balance as well, it's really just allowing yourself that time that we're not stealing from ourselves, just to really find your way into your asana. Everyone's warrior 2 will be slightly different, which is beautiful. So it just gives you time to find yours. So just enjoy that time and try not to rush. So our next one is a warrior 3. So we're going to come more to the middle of the mat here. And again, please take your time on this one. So what we're trying to get is a really straight line between your ankles and your wrists. We're just going to tap the right foot back and lifting the arms up. And then we're just trying to hinge from the hips. So we're pivoting forwards. So if this is where you go, we're going to stay here. If you can go lower, but if it means that your body is kind of collapsing, your leg stays down, we don't want this. We want that. We'd rather this beautiful straight line here than a collapse kind of version. If you can go lower, you're aiming to eventually come into a T shape with either toes pointed or ankle flexed, one or the other, but just do one so your ankle and your foot are engaged. And then we're going to hold for 5. So finding your way. Hold for 5. Big breath in. Big breath out. Use your core to stabilize for 4. For 3, it can really help to push down through that big toe knuckle to stabilize. If you wobble, if you fall out, come back in. That's why we're here. For 2. For 1. Good, gently. Bring that foot down, releasing the arms. Big breath in. Big breath out. And just take a moment to feel what you feel. Can you feel any tingling? Any pulsing sensations? Any energy that you're creating? If you close your eyes, what do you see behind the eyelids? Just take a moment to check in with yourself. And then let's go to the other side. So we're just gently tapping back with the left foot, lifting up with the arms. Again, finding your way, trying to keep that straight line. And be aware, as always, the sides may be different. Feel free, wobble. You can start again where you were or come back to the beginning. Finding your place. And it can really help to just have one point focus, so your eyes aren't roaming around, as that can kind of make our mind busy if our eyes are busy. Let's hold for 5. For 4. For 3. For 2. For 1. Wonderful. Reaching up. It's sometimes nice just to bow forward. Release any pressure from the lower back. Big breath in. Big breath out. Gently come back up to standing. We have one more standing pose and then we're down to the mat. So this one is really lovely stretch. It's a very humbling pose, which is wonderful for all of us. And it really works for balance as well as everything else. So we can't really ever work anything in isolation. So we're focusing on flexibility, but we're also working our strength, our balance, our coordination in almost every asana that we do. So this one, it's a dancer pose. So what I'd like you to do is take your right elbow and push it into your right hip. Then we're going to try and take hold of the right ankle from the inside. So just onto that ankle joint. So if, like me, you want to use a wall for support, then just adjust yourself to a wall, or if you have a stable chair or a cabinet. And then from here, we're going to try and keep the hips forwards. We're going to kick into that hand. So before worrying about coming forwards, we're just kicking into that hand. We're lifting the leg, and then gently you can come forwards. It's tempting for the hip to come out to the side, but we really want to keep the hips facing down. If you aren't holding on and you have the balance, bring your left arm up so the shoulder is almost touching your chin, really reaching it up and lengthening forwards with that hand. We're going to hold for 5. So, fall out, find your way back in. Any step on the path is so worth doing. It doesn't matter if you get to the full expression or not. So hold for another 4. For 3, keep kicking into the hand. For 2. For 1. Gently come back out, release. Again, reaching up and bowing forwards. Good. Okay, let's do a final one on the last side. So same again. Bring your left elbow into the left side. Taking hold of the ankle. If you need a few attempts to try and grab that foot, doesn't matter. Take a hold. And it may be that standing here and pushing the hip forwards and keeping the knees in line is enough of a stretch for you. If that is stretching, then stay there. Otherwise, kicking into the hand. Good. And then gently allow yourself to come forwards again. That knee wants to creep out. Keep the hips facing down. And your option, if you have the balance, really reaching up with that right arm and stretching forwards. So you're holding for 5. For 4. For 3. If you fall out, come back in. For 2. For 1. Gently. Releasing out. Big inhale. Big exhale. Bowing forward. Rounding the lower back. Maybe holding opposite elbows. Swaying from side to side. Good. And while we're down here, let's place the hands on the floor. Step back into a down dog. Really lengthening the spine. And a big breath in. Big breath out. We're going to come down to the ground now and just do a few stretches on the ground. So our first one is our pigeon pose. We're going to bring your right knee forward behind the right wrist. And then extend the left leg back as far as it goes. So, as always, we are being kind to ourselves and we're not going to steal this opportunity. So if your stretch is here and that's where your body allows, then you can grab a cushion and place it under that hip so you're a little supported and stay upright. Or you can do both. You might want a cushion in front of you if you can't make it all the way down. So please take your time. If your cushions are just out of reach on the sofa, just grab them. We've got time. And then find your way. Your hips will naturally want to just kind of sweep and slide to the right side. So just try and keep them back in center and level. So staying up or lowering down or making a pillow with your hands. And we're going to hold here for a little while. So come back to your breath. Big breath in. Big breath out. Holding for another 3. For 2. And for 1. Gently lifting up. We're going to transition through a child pose. So bring that foot back and rest down. For 5. For 4. For 3. For 2. For 1. And then lifting back up. So now bring the left knee forward, stretching back with the right. And again, just noticing how you are on opposite sides. If you need to prop a cushion or a block or a book under your hip, then do. Or if coming all the way down is too much, just having a cushion in front of you. And finding your way down, finding your stretch. And then try to release. And the mind may think this is a wonderful opportunity to start thinking of your to-do list. So just actively bringing your focus to your breath. Big breath in. Big breath out. Come back to your breath whenever the mind wanders. For 3, for 2, for 1. This time, gently coming up, we're going to swing that right leg forwards, keeping the left knee bent. Straightening the right leg in front. So it could be a big bend in the knees, or your leg could be flat, wherever you need to be. You may want to just move kind of flesh from your hips. Tuck the left foot in. Big inhale up. And as we exhale, we're going to bow forward over that right leg. You may be able to grab the toes, you may be able to grab the calf or the thigh, and just leaning forwards and then allowing the head to bow down. A beautiful stretch here, running all the way along the back of the leg and through the spine into the neck. So we're really lengthening the whole of the back body. Let's hold for 5, for 4, for 3, for 2, for 1. Gently coming up, and we switch legs. So extending the left leg, bringing the right foot in. And again with this one, if your leg's up, you can always put a cushion under that bent right knee, just to support yourself. Cushions and props, and you just become used to it. They just have them around if they help you. They may not, but if they do, use them, because they help. So why wouldn't we? Big inhale, reaching up. Exhale, bowing forwards. Keeping the chest lifted to begin with, so really get movement from the hip, and then allowing yourself to release in. The more you bring your toes towards you, the more you'll feel that stretch in the back of the leg, whether your leg is straight or bent. Let's hold for 5, for 4, for 3, for 2, for 1. Gently coming up, a big reach up. And it can be quite nice now just to place your hands behind you, bring to the soles of the feet to the floor, recline backwards, and then just stretch knees down to one side, back to center to the other side. Just to release your hips and your spine a little. Before we come to Shavasana, we're just going to do a little breath work. We're going to come to a seated position. So, when you feel ready. Again, if you have something under your hips, please take the time. It's worth it if it helps. So, into your seated position, grounding yourself down and then growing tall. Once again, hands on the thighs or in the lap. Taking a big breath in and a big breath out. I'm going to do 4-7-8 breath. This is a really lovely mindfulness breath, and it's quite nice to keep us flexible in our approach, because we inhale for just 4 and we're exhaling for 8, and so our body has to really kind of work to adjust to this, what seems imbalanced, but actually it works once our body finds the rhythm. So there's also a 7 second, retention of breath, holding the breath in. I'll cue this breath, but if at any point you feel you're gasping for breath, then just take it back and taper it to what you can do. It means we'll come out of sync, but that's okay. So when you're ready, take an inhale, take an exhale, and then let's begin. Inhale for 4, 2, 3, 4. Hold for 4, 2, 3, 4. Exhale for 4, 2, 3, 4. Inhale for 4, 2, 3, 4. Hold for 5, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale for 5, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale for 4, 2, 3, 4. Hold for 6, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhale for 6, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhale for 4, 2, 3, 4. Hold for 7, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale for 7, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Inhale for 4, 2, 3, 4. Hold for 7, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale for 8, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Inhale for 4, 2, 3, 4. Hold for 7, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale for 8, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Inhale for 4. Hold for 7. Exhale for 8. Continue. Inhale for 4. Holding for 7. Exhaling for 8. Keep that rhythm unless you're struggling, and then taper it to what you need. But continue to count as you breathe in, as you hold, and as you exhale. Allow the shoulders to relax. Allow the face, the brow to relax. We're going to come into our Shavasana now. Please feel free to stay seated as you are, or if you wish, come to a lion position. Try to do it with eyes closed and as a few moves as possible. And if you can, keep the rhythm of your breath. If you're lying down, allow the whole body to relax. With every exhale, imagine you're melting into the floor. There is an expression or a saying I heard. It says, saying you are not flexible enough for yoga is like saying you are too dirty to take a shower, which I think is just so wonderful. It's why we come to the mat, to help us move a little more forwards on our journey. And once again, coming back to our yamas, showing yourself some kindness. Maybe inhale, feel that wonderful energy you're bringing into yourself. And if any negative thoughts creep up, just show yourself a little kindness. And if the mind wanders, remind yourself, do not steal this moment. Come back to breathe and to rest on the floor. With your next inhale, big breath in through the nose and then exhaling through the mouth. Let the shoulders go. Let the face go. Really release. Repeat a couple of times if you wish. And then gently allow movement back into the body. So fingers and toes, big stretch and maybe curling. Maybe giving the ankles a rotation. Head from side to side. Maybe scrunching the shoulders to the ears and then letting them go. And then big stretch out, making the body long. If you're on the floor, bringing the knees into the chest. And gently finding your way onto your side, pause in there. Take a moment if you like to make intentions. Maybe one around our Asteya yama. Not stealing from ourselves. And when you feel ready, pushing yourself up to seated. Eyes closed, grounding yourself down. And then we share our breath. Inhale, reaching the arms up, palms together. Exhale, lowering the hands in front of the heart, bowing your head. Thanking yourself for taking the time to practice today. And we close as we started by sharing Namaste. Thank you so much for sharing that with me today. Please feel free to stay on your mats, take your time, and keep breathing deeply throughout your day. See you soon.